ele. Okay? Now, the pronoun for she is ela, ela. The pronoun for we is nós, nós. The pronoun for you, plural, I'll add this here, oops, plural, is vocês, vocês. So, plural you is basically singular you with an S at the end, right? And this is basically how the plural works in Portuguese, but we're going to talk about this later on in our next lesson, the plural. And the word for they, we have two forms. So in English, when you say they, just by listening to the word they, you're not sure yet whether it's talking about guys or girls. You have to know the context. So if I say, I was talking to Brenda and Carla last night, and they said it was hot, so I know that they refers to the girls, but you need the context. In Portuguese, if they refers to women or to ladies, you would use elas for girls, right? If you want to remember, you're going to see that the A, the feminine A, is right here in the middle of the word. So they feminine is elas, and they masculine is eles, right? But we would actually pronounce eles. So feminine they, elas, masculine they, eles. Now, I want you to have this available to you, right? So if you go to this link, you're going to be able to print this whole Word document in a PDF format that I'm showing to you, and it's easier for you to follow. I'm going to have a few exercises with you right now, and this is going to last, I think, about some 5 minutes, but it's going to give you a good idea of the language. So if, I'm going to have here sentences, and that's not in the PDF. I'm doing this kind of on the fly, but I'll make sure that next time I record these videos, I'll have the sentences as well in the PDF file. So the sentences, I'll have a different color for that. I'll have orange, will be in English. If I want to say, for example, the cat is expensive, right? The word for cat masculine in Portuguese is, check your sheet of paper, check your PDF. I'm gonna have italics for Portuguese. The word is gato, right? Now I want to say expensive, and that's going to be masculine, just like the noun. So the adjective will be caro, right? So right now I'm just saying expensive cat, right? If I want to say the cat is expensive, the masculine pronoun for the, since I'm using gato, which is a masculine noun, is o. So o gato is the cat, the male cat, right? And the word for is in Portuguese is é. Okay? So if I want to say the cat is expensive, I say o gato é caro. O gato é caro. Okay? We also pronounce this as a u. O gato é caro. Okay? Now I'm gonna let you try this one out. I want to say the girl is, let me check one of my adjectives. I want to say the girl is white. The girl is white. Okay? You can pause the video if you don't want to know the answer yet. You want to try it, just pause the video. So the girl is white, you would say, so the word for girl is menina. Menina. White has two forms. The feminine one is branca. We know the word for é, the word for is, which is é, the same that we see here. So we're gonna say é branca. Girl is white so far. Menina é branca. And the definite article in its feminine form is a. So we say a menina é branca. It's very easy to remember what the masculine and feminine form of the article is, because just like the masculine nouns end in o, That's what you're going to have for the masculine article, definite article. And for the feminine definite article, you're going to have a, exactly like the nouns end in a, and the adjectives end in a. So basically you have a here, you have a for the noun, and you have a for the adjective. In the case of the masculine sentence, you have the cat, o gato. This is the definite article in its masculine form, o. Gato is masculine, so it has an O, and expensive has to agree with cat, gato, because it's masculine, so we have O at the end. So it's very easy to realize. Now I'm going to give you the sentence, she is heavy. She is heavy. How would you actually say that she is heavy? So pause the video if you want to try that on your own. Every time before I give an answer, you should pause the video, okay? So how do you say she? Ela. Excellent. So we're going to get that here. Ela. How do you say is? Well, we've seen that before. So we say é. She is will be ela é. And I want to say heavy. Let's go back to our list. So heavy, pesado, or pesada. Since we're talking about a girl, that's a feminine word, we're going to use the feminine version of the adjective, which is pesada. So we're going to say, she is heavy, ela é pesada. Okay? So as you can see, Portuguese so far is not difficult, right? We can go for other verbs. So for example, if you want to let's use one of the verbs that I have here, right? Comer, right? So I want to say the girl eats the cake, right? It's very easy to have the present tense with the third person in Portuguese. All you gotta do basically is remove the R, right? So you're gonna see how this works. I want to see the girl eats the cake. So we're gonna use this verb, comer, right? But we're going to have to conjugate it. So in the present tense, if we want to get the girl eats the cake, right? So we know the word for girl, which is menina, right? And we can say the menina already, because we said that in the second sentence here. So menina is feminine, the article has to be feminine, and it's going to be a menina. Now, the verb for to eat is comer, right? And I told you that in the present, for the third person, which is he or she, all you gotta do with the verb is, in the present, is remove the R to say eats, wants, right? So basically what you do is remove the R. The girl eats the cake. A menina come. How do you say the cake? Think about that. Cake is masculine, so you would say bolo. The girl eats cake. A menina come bolo, but we want to say the cake. Since bolo is masculine, we need to use the masculine version of the article. So we're going to say a menina come o bolo. Okay? So I'll give you one more exercise. How would you say the boy? Do we have the word for boy here? No, we don't have the word for boy, but I'll let you guess that. If girl is menina, how would you say boy? Try that on your own. The boy loves the girl. Let's see if you get that. It would actually be o menino, o menino. Okay, so the verb to love is amar. Since I'm talking about he, the boy, and it's the present tense, third person, what do we have to do with the infinitive? We simply remove the last letter and we carry on. O menino ama. How do you say the girl? A menina. All right. So here, just with this lesson, you have quite a few facts about Brazilian Portuguese and Portuguese as it's spoken in Portugal and African countries as well. Now, you're going to be able to make quite a few sentences on your own, right? So before we finish, just one more example. Let me think. So let's say the cow. Okay, the heavy cow loves the fast cat. Whoa, crazy sentence. The heavy cow, the heavy cow, and you're going to realize I'm going to have a lot of crazy sentences in the future. The heavy cow loves the, what's the word I had? What's the sentence I had made? The heavy cow loves the fast cat. Okay. Very unlikely sentence, but it's actually going to help you from this point on so you can make sentences on your own now that I've given you these patterns. So the heavy cow, the word for cow is vaca. Heavy will be, check your list, feminine version of heavy, pesada, right? But as we said, the noun comes first in Portuguese and then the adjective. Now we need the article, the feminine article, the. Since it's feminine, it's a vaca pesada. The verb to love is amar. So the heavy cow loves, it's the present tense, third person, right? We just remove the R. The heavy cow loves, a vaca pesada ama, the fast cat. Cat is gato, masculine. Fast will be, check your list, masculine form, rápido, right? But remember in Portuguese, the noun comes first. So we're going to have this here, gato rápido, fast cat. Now what's missing? The cow heavy, the heavy cow, loves, yes, we need the masculine article, loves a fast cat. A vaca pesada ama o gato rápido. Actually, here we have this, oops, this acute accent. A vaca pesada ama o gato rápido. So I hope that with this lesson, you guys have a better idea of some of the basic facts of Brazilian Portuguese. And in the next lesson, we're going to talk a little bit more about plurals and verbs in the present tense, okay? So I look forward to getting your feedback about this video here on YouTube, and I hope that now you're going to have memorized these words in Brazilian Portuguese and that you can now, using the personal pronouns, these adjectives, nouns, and verbs, I would encourage you to actually play around and make some more sentences on your own. So the expensive watch is heavy, okay? How would you say that in Portuguese? You actually have the tools, and I hope that you're able to come up with that sentence on your own by looking at the patterns we have studied so far. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thank you very much, and see you.